Well, a substantive news issue yesterday at the post-cabinet press conference. Prime Minister Chris Luxon and Health Minister Shane Reti announced, well, essentially the disestablishment of the Health New Zealand Board, a new board set up to administer what the DHBs were replaced with by Labor, a central bureaucracy to administer health and health delivery in this country, a organisation that is estimated to have been spending $130 million a month. Yes, that's a month over budget. And a situation, obviously, the government has decided could not continue. So it's taken one of the board members, Dr. Lester Levy, and made him the Commissioner of Health New Zealand for the next 12 months to try and sort things out. As the story broke yesterday, I cast my mind back to an interview we did about 2 years ago at the very start of the platform with one of our leading public health experts, Professor Des Gorman, talking about Labor's reforms of health and the disestablishment of the DHBs and the construct of this major health bureaucracy. And one of Des's, and to put it simply, biggest criticisms was, we do not know what success of these reforms looks like. We haven't set targets for how much more health or how much more efficiently health might be delivered. And now, 2 years on, the whole thing seems to be coming to a screeching halt. And I thought would be a good day to talk to Des Gorman again about all this. Des, lovely to have you back with us. How are you?
Oh, good morning, Sean. I've got a bit of a head cold at the moment, so please excuse my
join the club.
Voice.
Join the club. We can die quietly together. Look, Des, you in particular would probably be forgiven for saying "I told you so," wouldn't you?
Well, I don't think there's anything to be gained by saying that, Sean. But sadly, yesterday's announcement was utterly predictable.
Yeah.
There was nothing unusual, unexpected in it. People have been talking about the financial difficulties of Health New Zealand for the past few months. But there was always going to end this way, Sean. When you create a central bureaucracy which has 14 layers of bureaucrats between the board and the clinicians, what would you expect?
Yeah, sadly, that's true. I guess I wouldn't be so upset, or we might not be so upset, Des, if the $130 million a month overspend was $130 million of operations and healthcare or health prevention programs. I mean, I could forgive that sort of overspending.
I agree. Unfortunately, and you heard it from the opposition yesterday where they said this is a case of the health system being underfunded. No, it's not. This is a case of a health system that doesn't derive efficiency. This is a case of a health system.
You there, Des? Hello, Des. Oh, what has happened to Des there? We probably need you right now, Ben. Hang on. We got you there, Des? Or have you dropped out? We seem to have some issues here. And I will just get Ben back in here if we can. Because suddenly we seem to, have we gone off air or something else happened? We'll just check. Let's see what's happened. I think something's gone skew with the whole system. I will just... Ben, we seem to have lost Des. Could we just check what's happening there and see if we are indeed on air, Ben? Okay, have we got Des there? Hello? Okay, let's just see what's happening there. We're going to try and get Des back, folks. I hope someone hasn't turned something up as we're trying to fix the texts. Okay. Yep. Okay, we have got Des. We lost everything there. Okay. Sorry, Des. We've got you. We had a technical problem there, Des. So you were saying, look, it could be forgivable if this was all extra money being spent on health. But as you warned 2 years ago, the problem was there were no targets for good
No.
outcomes, were there, with these reforms?
No. In fact, as you well know, Sean, when you reform a service industry, you start off with who you serve and you ask yourself, what do they need, want, or expect? And that's what you focus on. You focus on, how do I deliver the services that those people believe they need, say they want, and expect? That's where you start. What you don't do is restructure the whole damn thing. What you don't do is disestablish 20 regional entities and try and shift all the bureaucrats to Wellington and hope that there'll be a magical outbreak of competence. That's magical thinking. And unfortunately, the predictability of yesterday's outcome brings me no pleasure at all, because, in fact, what a shame we've got to fall over to recognise that folly is a folly.
Yeah, and it's 2 wasted years, isn't it?
Absolutely. 2 wasted years and a lot of energy too.
Yeah.
The health workforce is exhausted by these nutty reforms. And they've got to the point, look, thankfully, Sean, the majority of my colleagues ignore the health bureaucrats and just get on with their job on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
So Des Levy's in there. I guess he stops the rot. But that still doesn't answer the question, where do we go from here? How do we have meaningful and effective reform?
Yeah. Well, look, I think Lester's a good person to stop the rot, and he's certainly a good person to dry up the excess expenditure. He'll do that very, very well. But yes, now what we need to do now is, what would our ideal health system look like and how do we transition to it? As a generalisation, Sean, for a service industry, you should make the decisions as close as possible to where you deliver the services. So we need a district and community governance system. We need to...
Do we go back to DHBs then?
Well, there's nothing wrong with the DHB scheme. There were just too many of them.
Yeah.
And they had overlapping responsibilities and they didn't cooperate. So what the DHB scheme needed was reform, not to be shot dead.
Yeah.
And to go down this Keynesian economic path of centralised command and control. The question I asked the government at the time, and I'd ask them again if they were in power, would be, show me a single example in healthcare where a centralised command and control entity has successfully delivered better healthcare.
Mm.
It just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Look, we've got to drive down the path of value. How do we get the best possible outcomes at the lowest possible cost? And we've got to get over our obsession with those outcomes have to be delivered by public providers. Who cares if it's a public provider, a private for-profit, a private not-for-profit? Can they give us the best outcomes at the lowest cost? This is about value.